Welcome back, everybody, to Positive Connections Radio, HALT, and Call for Backup. You know what? Today is a day that we're going to pick the positive word jar.
I'm in need of that.
Yeah, let's try to find one. Should I open it up? You want me to pick this time?
Yeah, I love doing a positive word every day. Go for it.
Every day is a good day for a positive word. I started this way back in 2013 on my first 28-day challenge, and guess what? So many years later, I'm still doing it.
How many words do you have in the positive word jar?
There's got to be over 500 words in here, maybe more than that.
Okay, what's the history then?
This jar?
Where do you get the words from? Do you pick words every day and just cut them up and put them in there?
No. This specific jar was given to me on Father's Day, I believe in 2019, from my son. Oh. And he knew that probably one of the best gifts I ever got from my kids is this one, because it was heartfelt, and he knew that I love positive words. I'm always having the kids, especially when they're little, hey, have a positive word. And so Father's Day comes around, and Vanessa went and helped him out with the jar and getting it all together. And I guess he went online and just downloaded hundreds of positive words and then sat in his bedroom and cut them all out and put them into a jar. And this is the jar. So many years this has been with me at First Responder Wellness. And you know what? I took it home to do our positive word, and I left it here. I got a new one for work. And so, yeah, I would say, I haven't counted them or not, but there's got to be at least 500 in here on an estimate. So that's where it started from. At least this jar.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do this here.
So we're going to point blank draw a word from the positive word jar, and we're going to take it from there.
All right, this is it. I'm not looking. Oh wait, there's two of them.
Uh-oh. Maybe that's fate talking to us. Are we doing 2 words today?
Maybe. Let's see here. Guide. All right. 1, 2, 3, go. Guide. You know what I say in guide? I like that word because when I hear of guide, I hear of listening and looking at others that have it going on, have a good recovery program going on. And early on in my life, or actually early on in my recovery, I would look for people that had it set. I mean, they were happy, they were joyous and free. They were things didn't bother them that I thought made more sense to me, or I don't know. It was more important for me. Some of the things that they could just push off to their side. I mean, they didn't hold on to resentments. They spoke clearly. They spoke from the heart. They were honest. And I used that to guide me in my recovery. And I desperately wanted eventually someday be on the other side where I can actually help other people, because I've helped myself and I felt comfortable enough to do that. And to tell you the truth, it took a couple of years of active recovery every day. The positive words did help, coming into the second year of my recovery. Went back to school, and that's where I was introduced to the 28-day challenge. And it's been going great. I think that if I wake up every morning and I can be positive, think something positive, give a little shout out to my higher power, start my day in a positive, things seem to be a lot better.
There's this old poem that leapt to mind when you said guide, and it's written by this lady, and her name is Minnie Haskins. I'm doing my best to recall this, and she wrote this, I want to say back in the 1800s, I think, late 1800s. And when England was going through World War I, and then all of a sudden World War II came right on the heels of all that. They were just recovering as a nation. The king at the time, I'm not sure which king it was, but he was doing a radio address. And he decided to read this poem. Um, and I believe it's called Gate of the Year. I think that's what it's called. And there's this one quote from it that goes something like this, and it's biblical. It's kind of it's faith based, it's Christian based, but I love it. It's um, and it basically paints a picture of a person who's walking into the darkness and is scared, doesn't know which way to go.
Mm-hmm.
And it says something to the effect of, uh, "Show me, show me the way. Basically, can you guide me?" And the person who we believe is, an angel or God waiting for us says, "Take a hold of God's hand and just walk with him, for his way is safer than any known journey, and his light is brighter than any known lantern." And that is always stuck with me through my lifetime. Those times when I need guidance, when I'm not sure which the direction to go is, and I'm sensing chaos and disorder versus peace and tranquility. And I'm always thirsting for the peace and tranquility. That's always the direction I'd like to go when I make choices in life, because that to me is where God is for me.
Right.
And so I've always liked that thing. It's here I am. I'm on the edge of the universe. I don't know which way to go, and it's all dark and scary. Well, I'm going to grab onto God and just walk with him because his way is safe,
Yeah.
and his way is well lit. And that's always comforted me.
And I never heard of that before. I actually just pulled it up right now. You want me to read it?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, it's called Gate of the Year, and then in quotations, God knows. And here it goes. "And I said to the man who stood at the gate of the year, 'Give me a light that I might tread safely into the unknown.' And he replied, 'Go out into the darkness and put your hand into the hand of God. That shall be your better than light and safer than a known way.' So I went forth, and finding the hand of God, trod gladly into the night, and he led me towards the hills and the breaking of day in the lone east. So heart, be still. What need our little life, our human life, to know? If God hath comprehension in all the dizzy strife of things both high and low, God hiddeth his intention. God knows his will is best. The stretch of years which wind ahead so dim to our imperfect vision are clear to God. Our fears are premature. In him all time hath full provision. Then rest until God moves to lift the veil from our impatient eyes, when, as the sweeter features of life's stern face we hail, fair beyond all sunrise, God's thought around his creatures our mind shall fill."
There are some things in life that when I read them or hear them, you just know the words are anointed. And this is one of those writings for me. Sometimes when I go to church, I'll hear their worship music playing, and every once in a while I'll sit back and go, "Man, that song is just anointed." You can just feel the power, in the words and everything. And that's what this writing does for me.
It's neat.
Yeah.
Louise Haskins.
Louise Haskins. What did I say? Minnie Haskins? Wrong person.
I don't know.
Louise
I don't remember.
Haskins. Anyway, cut that out.
1875 to 1957. All right. Well, that's a good one, man. That is a good one. To be a guide. And that can guide us, every day in life.
Yeah.
It's good to have that guide. And we need a guide in a lot of things that we do, right? I mean, if we're going to be building something, we're going to have a guide of whatever kind of instrument to measure it, right? We have to make sure it fits right, and have something guide us.
A guide can be a bunch of things in our lives. It can be a person who shows us the way or encourages us to consider certain directions. And it could also be, there's all kinds of guides around us. If you're nautical, Mike, you're a big time surfer. I love surfing. You and I grew up on the Pacific Ocean, and all of those buoys that we see out there, the harbors, lakes, rivers, oceans, aid to navigation, ATONs, aid to navigation. Uh, so we all have examples of guides all around us. And isn't it funny? In the simple things in life, we'll look at the guide and say, better follow that,
Mm-hmm.
better follow that. Or listen into the GPS, better follow that. For the most part, it's pretty accurate. Sometimes it'll send you the wrong way. But by and large, we have so many examples of aids to navigation in our lives that are wise to pay attention to. So why wouldn't we do it with a person who has wisdom for us?
Yeah, that's what they call people that lead us around at amusement parks or wherever we're at. They call them guides, right? We look up to them. We look to them to show us something that we don't know, to lead us somewhere that they know, and that's what they're trying to have us experience. A lot of us don't want to give up that control. I see it as giving up that control. Why do I want you to guide me? I don't need anybody to guide me. I'll guide you, right? And that's what we're trained to do, guide other people.
On all the different clinical teams that you and I both worked on, one of my favorite things to say to a client who's asking me a question that I'm pretty sure they know the answer to, and they're not really asking themselves the hardball questions. I just say, hey, what would your sponsor say? Why don't you run this one past your sponsor? And it's funny to see the reaction. Most of them don't want to do that. Most of them want to kind of go in a whole different direction, or use the wisdom that got them to the spot. What's that saying in recovery, Mike? Your best thinking got you here. Have you heard that bounced around before? Your best thinking got you here.
Yeah, and that pissed me off the first time I heard it. It probably makes right. Like I hated all those terms. Like your best thinking got you here. Come all the way in, sit all the way down, and that's a good one. That's a sort of soft one. The one I really didn't like was take the cotton out of your mouth and put them in your ears. Right? Meaning shut up and listen. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. It's opposite. Take the cotton out of your ears and put them in your mouth. See?
One of my really great friends of mine, we worked together for a long time. He's a great colleague of mine. He's a KDAC guy. He's gone through recoveries, but very successful in his recovery as well. So yay. He said he can be a bit of a talker, and it's hard to slow him down when he gets a head of steam behind him. And the first time he went through recovery, he was driving the sponsor nuts, he said. And his sponsor goes, we're going to go to this meeting and you're going to do two things. And he goes, what? He goes, sit down and shut up.
That's great. Yeah, I love that, man. And it really does. Those things that bother you maybe early on in recovery. Okay, so let's check this out. What the hell is a sponsor? I mean, people are listening of what is he talking about? A sponsor? What is a sponsor? So I can explain real quick here. A sponsor is a guide. A sponsor is your guide, right? Yeah. Someone that has been through it, that is in that position to help you lead the way, not tell you what to do, give you some positive suggestions, right? We don't like being told what to do. And sometimes we're human, right? We make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. You guys, it's evident with the cotton thing, right? Yeah. But a guide, a sponsor is someone there. As let's say you're working, it started out in 12-step work or Alcoholics Anonymous, all right? Way back in the 30s, 1930s, okay? And it's spun off into this thing where there's over 250 subsets of that 12-step program, Alcoholics Anonymous, using those 12 steps. If you don't know what these 12 steps are, check them out on Google, ChatGPT them. Take out the word that you don't like. I mean, a lot of us don't like the word God. That's totally fine. But put in a word what you want to work on. And if you can work 1 through 12 in order, it always helps to have a sponsor with you. It always helps to have a guide. You don't need to call them your sponsor. A guide, someone that's going to walk you through it, that they know that, and you trust them enough that you can let out all this information, because part of it is letting go and revisiting your resentments. And then a little bit down the line, step 9 is it's making amends. It's not the making sorries, it's making amends to people. And step 8 is making a list of people that you have harmed that you want to be able to help out or at least make amends to. And that's where you talk to your guide, to your sponsor, someone that you trust. Like, bing, bing, bing. These are all the people that I need to make amends to. And they might look at one like, well, if you make amends to this one, it's going to cause some havoc in their relationships. It's going to cause some more problems. Maybe we can find another way instead of verbally apologizing to them or making amends. Let's make amends some other way. So it always helps. A lot of us in recovery, including me in the very beginning, even though my life was, the old life that I had was 100% over and I had to start a new life, which was scary as hell and also invigorating and exciting in a manner of speaking. Devastating and exciting at the same time. It's sort of a weird dichotomy there. But I remember thinking, well, I can do this on my own, right? And I guess I could have. No one said I couldn't do it on my own. And if they did, I wouldn't have listened to them. But they suggested that I have a sponsor. They suggested that I go to meetings. So if you're not working on alcohol, drug problems, maybe gambling, sexual problems, sexual addictions, pornography, you name it. If you're dealing with something, they could really help you. If you just give it a shot, I mean, maybe you won't like it, and you can at least you know what we're talking about here. So a sponsor is a guide. It's always good to have a guide. Jim, you're my guide. You help me through life, and if I have something and an issue or whatever, I'm going to bounce it off you because I trust your opinion. You have extreme integrity. I love you like a brother. You are my brother. You're a good man, and I do respect your point of view on things. I might not agree with you 100% every time, but I love, well, not all the time, but it's nice having that opinion that I trust that I'd be able to tell you anything. So,
ditto, brother. Thank you for that one. I appreciate those words. And right back at you too. As we talk about a guide, and we brought up the 12 steps and sponsor. There are people who have some good experience in their active recovery. And Mike, you can educate me here. I don't know if sponsors have a certain amount of time on. Is it like a year, or they've just proven themselves to be steady in their recovery? And sponsors, they offer accountability. They help people navigate the 12 steps and the meetings. And they also offer someone of confidence to talk to who have been there, completely understand what's going on with the person, what's going on with the situations, have been there and done it. And oftentimes folks, some folks make it the first time and some folks struggle a bit until they finally get some recovery traction going on. And the sponsors, they know their way through that. And that's really a good guide to have on walking with you.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that when you're secure enough in your recovery, I would say at least over a year. I mean, some people do it before that. I tend to err on the side of caution where it comes to working your own program. Make sure you're okay. I have some especially first responders nowadays, say like, I want to give back. I want to go back to my peer support. I want to be able to help. I want to do what you're doing. I want to be able to help people and give. I said, just take your time. Have some patience with it. If it's something that you want to do in a year from now, then start exploring it. But try to make sure that you know what you're doing. If it's recovery from alcohol, that you're sober. You're actually doing the work. You're not struggling each day to get by. If you're struggling each day to get by, something is off. Maybe you're not willing to do something that was suggested to you or told to you, or maybe you're not doing it correctly. God forbid I say that to you guys, right? But it's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. And when you're lying to yourself. So you really know, the answer. You know the answer. And that's where it's really good to start with honesty and trust to yourself. Because if I know I'm bullshitting myself, I'm trying to get it over on you, and you're seeing something wrong, but you don't know 100% what it is. It's because I'm lying to myself. I know what it is. I know what I didn't do. I know what I need to do. And then here comes that term again, come all the way in, sit all the way down. Sometimes I don't want to come all the way in, and I'm definitely not going to sit all the way down. I just want to stand, right? I'll stand. You tell me to sit, I'm going to stand. You tell me to come in, I'm just going to listen from the outside. And that's just the, what would you call it in me, that I just want to fight the system of it, because I know best. And even in my darkest hours where I was starting my new life in recovery, I was still fighting it, Jim. I was still fighting it a little bit in my head, and I had to learn these tools to get through it. And I get to use those stories now because I really get it. No matter what, that I was holding on to these things that I valued so much. And I was just able to let go of it.
Yeah. Do you know that you and I have talked before about this, Mike? The majority of my colleagues and friends are in active recovery. They're all sponsees. And I find them to have the best wisdom, street smart, and they don't endorse bullshit. They've got a really good bullshit meter. And I love those people. It's really amazing to me that my life has come to such a full circle where once upon a time, I'm arresting people. I'm arresting people that are struggling with drugs and alcohol. And then I became a counselor. And the first place that I went for my internship was in recovery. And I knew very little about it other than having some distant relatives back on the East Coast someplace who were struggling or had struggled once upon a time. And that's really where my education began. And when I realized how wise people like you and people like these colleagues of mine were, and once they found out about me and my background, so accepting of me, welcoming me on these teams and everything. And one of the greatest things about KDAC folks, one of the best things about people that are counselors that are on clinical teams now that have gone through successful recovery is they are the best to roll with resistance. And you know what I'm talking about, Mike. How many people come in, from day one through their entire time, and you get these just roadblocks they throw in front of you, these smoke screens, and how easy you all, but it wears us out, but how easy you all just roll with resistance, and just move through it with them. It's always fascinating to me. Yeah. It's always a learning experience for me.
I think it's so important too, if you're a therapist or you're trying to get your license and you're going through the whole process of that too, and you might not have a substance abuse problem. Hopefully you have some kind of issue that you're working on, right? It always helps for us to work on something, and maybe to have a therapist of our own to bounce things off of. But, I think that it's good to have some basic knowledge of addictions. So many times, first responder, client, patient comes to me and, I've been going to this therapist for a year and a half, 2 years. And last week was the first time I was honest with them. I was actually saying, every time I come to your session, I've been drinking. And I don't know what it is. If it's blinders, you don't want to see it, or if you're not seeing the right things, you don't understand it. But it's very, very common to take those cues because, if you're working with trauma, if you're working with first responders, that might play a big role in a lot of the people that you see. That might be their coping skill that they've learned. That's their tools that they've learned over time to deal with the pain, deal with the trauma, deal with the stress, deal with the family life, deal with the marriage, deal with their, people in the streets, deal with the protests, the death of their partners, suicides. That's how they know how to deal with it. And it's socially acceptable in that realm. And if you could just look a little bit beyond that, because the true healing happens when you're able to work together with a therapist, with a treatment team to deal co-occurring illnesses, right? I mean, you have an injury, an alcohol-related injury maybe, or a drug-related injury, also post-traumatic stress injury, anxiety, depression. You're holding all these things in, and if you could just grab onto a couple tools to get you through that, It's so important. And if you're a therapist, also, a lot of therapists don't deal with trauma, right, Jim?
Yeah.
Isn't it hard to deal with trauma? Isn't it easier to deal with this like family stuff, kid stuff, marriage stuff, right? It's just like, hey, but then if someone comes into your office, Jim, and they start talking about, severed heads and hangings and death and destruction and all these things that they've had experience,
Yep.
It takes a special person to do that, doesn't it?
I'll tell you, it's when I first started, I started laughing when you were talking about that, because when I first went down counselor road and I decided to become a therapist, they were asking in class, hey, who do you want to work with? And everybody in the class had a different answer. And I just said in my brain, I didn't say it out loud, oh, I just want to help people that are having a rough day. Maybe someone's got a little depression, a little anxiety, nothing much, and you're going to find that once in a while, but by and large, especially in the community, the emergency responder community, you're going to find nothing but trauma, and rightfully so. And so it does take a special breed of person who can shoulder that, but at the same time, you got to take care of yourself too, because like Mike was saying, Mike, remember being a police officer? Remember the days you would say, I thought I saw it all. Here's something new, Okay, now I've seen it all. Then you go on to something else. The next day shows up. Okay, now I've really seen it all. And then another call comes your way and just stuns you, right? Yeah. Okay, now I've seen it all. And that's what happens in the counseling chair, especially with trauma. Every time I hear something going on, I think to myself, wow, I've heard a lot. And this one is something brand new to me. We're going to take care of it the same way, but this is a new type of event that I've never heard before, at least heard like this before. I had a client just the other day. It was on my heart. Poor guy, been through so much, emergency responder, been through so much. And I finally decided, I got to the point where I was going to ask him about, suicidal ideation and homicidal ideation. And I said, do you think you want to hurt yourself? And he said, well, I did get an insurance plan. And that's all I needed to hear to just pump the brakes and slow all that down and not avoid it, but lean into it and have the discussion about it. And it worked out okay. Guy's doing fine. But I'm glad he mentioned it. That takes a lot of courage to bring that kind of a thing up, but it also takes a wise and well-trained therapist to orbit there.
Right.
And lean in there. A lot of times I see us as being, especially working with trauma, I'm like this helicopter just orbiting. I'm just orbiting. I'm orbiting until I get everything into the light of day. And sometimes it's a bit of a journey, and you better have your head on your shoulders, and you better have some training on your belt, and you better have some guides in your life. Mike, you complimented me amazingly earlier, and ditto back to you. How many times have I called you up? How many times have I texted you? Said, Mike, can I talk to you real quick? I got something here that I got to run by you. I just need to decompress a little bit, And so it's wise for all of us to have guides, not just when you're struggling. Have your wolf pack. How many times do you hear me talk about that, right? The strength of the wolf is the pack.
Yeah.
And it's really important to have those guides in your life.
Oh, it does. It does. It's part of your tribe, make that part of your recovery team. Have those guides in your life that you can count on and rely on, and things will start improving. And deal with those hard topics, deal with those hard feelings, be vulnerable, and let those things out in a safe manner where you feel safe. And you get in a therapy session, your therapist is going to be able to close it up before you leave. So you're not just so out of it. You feel better about yourself that you actually talked about it. And here's an acronym for GUIDE. I'm all about acronyms, right? How it works, HOW, honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. And this one is GUIDE: growth, understanding, integrity, direction, and empowerment. So if you could think about that, if you ever do, GUIDE: growth, understanding, integrity, direction, and empowerment. And I think that's a good way to end our little session here, Jim. So grateful for today, and looking forward to the rest of the day, and then waking up tomorrow morning and having another awesome day.
I love it. And y'all remember the words of Minnie Haskins. And I said to the man who stood at the gate of the year, give me a light that I may tread safely into the unknown? And he replied, Go out into the darkness and put your hand into the hand of God. That shall be to you better than light and safer than a known way. So I went forth, and finding the hand of God, trode gladly into the night.
Nice. Halt and call for backup.
Don't get fooled again.